This is for the homeschool mom who is postpartum or who is expecting to be pregnant this year, is expecting to have a baby this year, is expecting to move into a season of her life where she is homeschooling maybe one or two kiddos, but really young kiddos like preschool, kindergarten, grade 1. So the reason why I decided to create a video is based on a conversation or a question that I had from Tabitha. Nope, Agatha. Pardon me, Agatha. So it's from Agatha. By the way, I used to live in Three Hills, Agatha. So you're in somewhere else near there. And so anyways, you said I'm currently a mom of 2, about to be a mom of 3. I'm wanting to homeschool my kids, and my oldest is doing preschool work at home. I want to help her get ready for her kindergarten next year. That's a lot going on. That's kind of where I started. I think I was in the place where I had 3 kids, and then I was I was pregnant with my 4th. Maybe it was even before I was pregnant with my 4th that I knew for sure we were homeschooling, but I started homeschooling when my youngest was a wee little baby. And it's tricky to try and keep anything on task. Can I hear an amen from all those postpartum moms out there? So, I do recall what it's like actually to be in that space because I've been working with a homeschool mom who also is in that space. And otherwise, it does feel like ages ago for me. So here, I wanted to share a few things that I would do if I were you, kind of like the plan that I would create if I were in your scenario now. But before I do that, for all the homeschool moms that are with me that are not homeschooling at that stage, I want to offer you a daily affirmation today. So you can see my printed download of the Homeschool Mama Daily Affirmations. I think these are really nurturing the nurturer. So I'm just going to share with you a couple that you might be able to bring to your mirror and speak to yourself. There was a mom who spoke to me about the affirmations, and she said, you know what? I have never heard these words spoken to me before, and it was powerful, and I cried when I heard a few of them. I'm only sharing with you a couple today. So it starts like this. I am a patient and loving parent. I am patient and loving to myself too. I'm not bound in any way by my past or by my imperfect parenting that I may have received. I am free to decide what kind of parent I will be. I am completely and fully forgiving of my own parents for any of the pain their own insecurities or unhealed issues might have caused me. That is the beginning paragraph of the Homeschool Mama Daily Affirmations. And if you haven't downloaded or haven't accessed the affirmations, just type affirmations below and I'll make sure to get that to you. So here's what I offer you, Agatha, in how you might create, as you were saying, a routine where you can maintain some sense of organization. First, I just want to say that now that I am more aware, as I'm paying attention to moms at that stage in the last 6-9 months, I'm paying attention to that stage more, and I can see, I'm reminded, it's a lot. So trying to stay organized at all is a high expectation. So some days it's just not going to happen. There's just going to be a pile of stuff in your room. There's going to be, a box of pads, those really mesh ugly underwear. I worked in postpartum nursing, and I remember getting a stack of them and thinking, yeah, I should probably have this for my future. And I was right. Those mesh underwear, and there's pillows everywhere and things, lots of laundry unfolded, and there's diapers, and there's a full diaper pail, and there's so many possible things that you might have in your bedroom, which will become command central, because that might be the place that you hang out with the other kids on your bed while you're nursing. Maybe you're doing a read aloud together or listening to an Audible book. Maybe you've got the TV on or somebody is watching you do something on your screen. It's going to be a different kind of energy and not the kind of organized that we have when we have older kids like I do, or even older kids like everyone is over the age of 5. But here's a few things that I would encourage you to consider. Create a routine, not a schedule. strict schedules will always not work. They will always make you feel like you failed a strict schedule, but even more so at that stage. So establish a daily routine based on things that you want to make sure to include, which, if I remember, that includes very few things. It includes you feeding the baby, somehow the kids get fed, somehow you get fed, and if you get lucky, you've done a full shower. If you can do any of the following things that I share with you today, then that is amazing. But just think of it this way. For a solid 4 to 6 months, you're going to go into quiet mode and do the basics. So beyond that, I would say, here's a few possibilities. So you're including a routine that includes stuff your family wants to do, flexible routines. In other words, you do a routine often enough, you actually can get quite a bit done if you're doing something consistently, but expect that it'll get interrupted, because it definitely will. So routines cause or create predictability. They are flexible, and over the course of time, they bear out in productivity. But for that stage of parenting, I would suggest be extremely lenient on yourself. Give yourself a ton of grace. And I know how hard it is, especially when you're sleep deprived and it feels like you're getting zero done. Nothing is happening except for the baby's being fed and your pads being changed, or someone brought you food or something. And it's so simple. It feels dissatisfying. And yet it is a season and it will pass. If you can include the following, then yay. And if you can't, that is perfectly fine too. I would suggest to make fun the goal when you are hanging out with your kiddo, the kindergartner. If you had, say, 15 or 20 minutes in a day, if you have 15 or 20 minutes in a day to do something, play with that child. Get curious with that child by going outside and discovering whatever they're curious about. Make sure you have some solid eyeball to eyeball time. Maybe you want to read with them. Maybe you don't have the energy to read, so you turn on an audiobook, but sit and listen with them, or let them read to you as they're flipping through their favorite books, as long as you're cuddling, one child on this side, a baby on the other or something. And it can be very laissez-faire, relaxed, but it's just you hanging out, doing something proactive with that child. And I don't know what it is you'd like to include in your routine, or what kind of activities you'd like to set your child up for. I do have a few resources that I'll put in the comment section below that are designed just for kindergartners, which is like the most fun season of homeschooling. Don't you agree? Everybody who is past that stage, that is like the most fun. And it's interesting how we are likely to fret the most about that stage, and possibly when we enter into high school years. But the kindergarten age, they're so curious. They're so interesting. And if we just followed every one of their questions, they would have a robust education. So make sure you're including fun. You could do things. Just could, not do, just maybe have poetry tea time, where, maybe you call it lunch, but your child is told, hey, why don't you go grab the teapot, and these could be play teapots, not real ones, a teapot and tea cups and saucers, and pull it all out and we'll have tea together. And then you leave a poem or a poetry book on the table and read one poem together. You could go outside, and if you have a nature reserve close by, or if you hopefully have a backyard where there's something that you could explore. I don't know what season you're going to be having that baby in, but go play outside with your child. Let them discover a few things, that there's snails under the rocks, or what does the leaf look like when you press it between two pieces of paper and then you wait a few months, or maybe you can shade it with a pencil and see what the lines are like on the paper, or maybe you can collect a leaf from every tree activity, and then you try to find out what the tree is called. Very, very simple things outside. Getting outside will be super useful for you. A little nature time. Keeping a stack of books, interesting books or activities. Maybe it's a puzzle, maybe it's a super simple game, Chutes and Ladders or something, that you could have in a basket right beside the place that you're most likely to be nursing or bottle feeding your baby. How about ask your husband or your partner or your mom or a best friend to watch your kids for, say, an hour once a week so that you can leave somewhere, maybe grocery shopping, and then bring that kiddo and then do some learning in the general community. At that stage, every activity you do in the community is like a field trip. So it can be a learning opportunity. As a routine for myself, I always did a morning gathering routine. First, I know this is going to be hard in the first number of months, but spending time just having a shower and brushing your teeth, that's a goal in the first few months. And if you are able to maybe put on an audiobook or a meditation or a mindfulness moment or something from YouTube or something that you like to listen to while you're having a shower or brushing your teeth, look into the mirror, say one of those daily affirmations, pin those affirmations to the mirror so that you remember that they exist while you're in the busyness of your days. And maybe practice a deep breathing exercise at the beginning of the day. That's assuming that things aren't chaotic in the first few hours, of course. But then also when you're having breakfast, you can maybe have a morning gathering routine, which I really mean ask the kids how they're doing and do the morning, homeschool type activities that you want to do right off the top of the day. If that's the time of day you have the most energy, which of course may or may not be the case because you may be seriously sleep deprived before the third or fourth month of postpartum. But if it is possible for you, sometimes the morning is the best, sometimes it isn't. Hence the desire for flexibility. So I wrote down to also infuse hygge into your day. Hygge is a Danish concept of creating cozy and pleasant atmosphere. And that might mean you just including, say, a lit candle in, during your read alouds, or your time where you're actually going to do reading. And, this one sounds like a really nice idea for maybe a little bit older kids. This might not be a realistic one with little kids running around and you getting distracted. And then now there's a fire. So maybe scratch that one. But I think it's a neat idea, at least in the afternoon when we have our quiet times. And not everyone does this, but having a quiet time with your kids while the other kids are napping, and then putting a little candle on to signify to the kids that are awake that this is the time that we're going to do something that is the afternoon quiet time, which might mean your child is also on his or her bed doing quiet activities at that time of day. So I spoke about having fun as your goal, but you could also include special party days, so maybe every month after the baby's born, you could have a special birthday celebration. We did something really goofy. We would buy a cannoli for every month of the baby's life and until they're about 12 months. And then we would sing a funny song and dance her around the table. 3 girls and a boy were my children. And dance her around a table, take a photo of her with a candle on the cannoli. It's pretty silly, but sweet memories and this much time later. And your oldest might be able to help figure out what you could do to celebrate. Now, when it comes to you, I'm thinking about how you are going to feel over the course of this time. Because it was pretty demanding. I remember that feeling like this is really demanding. And I had such an itchy desire to get into the mix already and do stuff and, get on with the routine, which is fun because you're really motivated by the time you start doing it. But also sometimes at least I was somebody who had wildly unrealistic expectations, and I wanted to do it all, and I wanted it all to be clean and tidy, and I wanted my routine to be uninterrupted. Truth be told, I'm still like that. I still like my time uninterrupted, but learning to be flexible is something that season demands. So that's super important. But I remember back between my second and third, and I remember hearing someone say that after 3 kids, it's all the same. And I remember saying that to my friend who just had her 5th child, and she like looked at me deadpan, and she's like, "No, it's one more child." And she was so right. It's one more child. I don't know where that myth came from. After 3, it's all the same, or after 2, it's all the same. Anyways, not my experience either. It's just a little bit more. And the beauty of it is you have an older child that can help, and she will, or he will, absolutely love having another person to look after. At least we gotta hope. Mine did. But I think when I think about that time, it was super demanding, but it was physically demanding because we can get so exhausted. Our energy is expended. The hormones are all over the place. We want, a hamburger or a sandwich or something in the middle of the night. And, we're really all over the place when it comes to hormones. At least I was. And I know between my second and third, I felt a steady decline in emotions. I just felt more agitated. I was much more teary than I was before. And my husband had said to me, my husband is a medical physician, he had said to me that I wonder if you would be benefited by taking antidepressants for, 4, 5, 6 months, something like that. And I did. I ended up for 6 months being on antidepressants, and it was really useful for me to cope over the course of that third pregnancy. And I also happened to hire a homeschooled kiddo who was a graduated homeschooler, and she was amazing and obviously would not charge as much as, say, somebody that would be maybe 10 years her senior. So it was amazing to have her around and to honor and acknowledge the reality of my physical place and that I wasn't able to emotionally handle as much as I was before. And also found a way to sleep more because I asked people for help because I really needed it at that point. So I encourage you to consider that as well, to really, allow other people to let you know that I don't think that you're doing as okay as maybe you want to be. And so maybe you need to do something. Of course, you're always welcome to join me in a program of life coaching where I could help support you over the course of your antepartum and your postpartum season. And exercise is a really, really useful way to burn off tension, a really useful way to feel like you're still emotionally balanced, I guess, or feeling like you're more even keel instead of going up and down a lot, especially when we have the tension of, one child is fighting with one child over there and you're not able to get your baby and move over there and help the child. And then something breaks and then, I don't know, stuff happens, life happens, but it gets pretty intense. And then meanwhile, you're not sleeping. You're not feeling great yourself, and it doesn't take very much to feel like things get out of whack. And, really, I would say count on that not really feeling fully balanced and comfortable, I guess, until you're at least at the 6-month mark. And then I've found that it's typically around the year mark where things start to ease in and feel really comfortable. And then really until the youngest child is 5, do things dramatically shift in my experience. Know that every day won't go well, and it's just par for the course. But if you create, or if you want to use a time audit that I have, you can actually schedule in the things that matter most to you, the things that you think you could include in that. If you want to chat with me, you're most welcome to join me every Wednesday afternoon. You can join me for the first year meet and greet. Just ask me for a link and you're welcome to come have a conversation with me. I've created a first-year homeschool mama support group so that once a week, you're welcome to join me for either a support group, a Q&A or a workshop of some sort, you can also join us older homeschool moms in our support group in our homeschool mom room. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask. I hope that's been helpful for you, and I hope you have a lovely day. We'll talk to you soon.